for coming. Episode 83. So I was going to say hard to believe, but it's really not that hard to believe because we do this every week. It's pretty fun. So episode 83, this one's near and dear to our hearts because this topic and this conversation we're about to have is very near and dear to our hearts because we pretty much tell anyone that we have the opportunity to speak to, we tell them about sponsorship and underwriting opportunities and how this is, I mean, I don't want to toss around things like game changer and stuff like that, but it really kind of has changed the game with fundraising in so many respects, and folks are getting so creative. And once again, I mean, this is something that comes up literally every single day when we're talking to different organizations and different partners and what have you, and frankly, anyone who will listen. So sponsorships and underwriting, how you can add, $25,000 to your next event just by being creative and giving folks the opportunity to give in a way maybe they haven't before. We're also going to nudge folks and encourage folks to ask for more for certain staples of their event that they haven't before. Well, I should probably introduce ourselves. Jason Ledlow and Trevor Nelson with HGA Group, HGA Fundraising, HGA Bid. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. If you're here live and if you're going to be listening to this later, fantastic. Can't thank you enough for joining us. As usual, we want this to be interactive. So if you're in attendance right now, Q&A function at the bottom of the screen, chat function on the right. I'll be monitoring all these questions. Jason and I both will. Questions, comments, experiences, successes. I've already seen a few names of folks that have already hit it out of the park with sponsorship and underwriting that we know personally. But if you have a question about, hey, how do we go about this and things like that, we'll have some really cool guides that we'll send out post webinar this afternoon with the recordings and whatnot. So you'll want to queue up on that. And like I said, just exciting. Jason has a lot of personal experience working with nonprofits that do this, that, I mean, better than anyone we've really seen. I mean, I can think of like MDA, Jason. They do an amazing job.
Yeah, I think that, the topic today, because we've talked about this a lot, but what I wanted to do today is just to give some real specific things that actually physically what to do and some steps to go raise more money. Just how to ask, but how to ask in a way that makes it comfortable. Because by a show of hands, who here is a little uncomfortable asking for sponsorship money? You can go over there and click on the deal that says, raise your hand on the, if you click on attend, there should be a place there you can raise your hand. Nobody's raising their hand. Everybody loves asking for money. Okay, cool. I like it. That's awesome. My point is, I think that there's Joe, and I know Joe asks for people for money a lot, and so it's something that we all have trepidation about. We just do. It's something that is not necessarily comfortable when we're asking for stuff. Now, I do think it gets easier as you go through it, especially whenever you start. It's the way that you ask and who you're asking, because we want to be asking people that, number one, we have a relationship of some kind with. It could be a personal relationship. It could be a referral relationship. It could be they're a longtime donor. They're a brand new donor, somebody we just saw that came. But we want to keep everything in mind with that. And the next thing I want to talk about is, we're going to give you some ideas. I've got a little visual I'll pop up here in just a second. But we want to ask for everything, okay? Well, that's very kind. Cheryl said I used to be, but this year I ask everyone. And I thank you for saying that. She said thanks to you and change of who is attending our event, and that's true. But what I want, here's the whole thing about sponsorship and underwriting. Everybody thinks they've got it down. They go, oh yeah, we do sponsorship levels, and it's really typically tied to tables. Okay. We all do sponsorship and we all say, okay, we have, we've got a platinum level and a gold level and a silver and a bronze and a, tin and aluminum and everything else. And however you want to do it, call it, use jewels, anything that you want to say. And a lot of times those sponsorship levels, they're, let's just say it was 25,000, 10, 5, 2,500, something like that. And they'll have a table that goes with it. And that's kind of where we go. maybe they'll have a few underwriters for a few other things, and that's always good. And I think that's a good thing. But what I want to challenge everybody to do is to look at every possible aspect of getting people involved. And I want to give you a couple of real quick examples. And this is the easiest one to think about. I believe that whenever I have someone come to an event, or let's say I've invited Trevor to come and sit at my table, and he donates, he says, wow, he and his wife Shelby, they really like the mission, they want to get involved. Mm-hmm. Well, if the only alternative option for him to get involved in underwriting, sponsoring, doing something is to buy a table, that kind of defeats the purpose, because he really wanted to come with me, or I wanted to go with him.
Sure.
And so it also creates a challenge, because there's some trepidation. Well, we all have the same friends, so who am I gonna ask?
Sure.
Who am I gonna get to fill my table? How do I get involved?
I've seen that.
Tables are really tough because they're great. Don't misunderstand. We got to have people, but you start running into problems, especially with companies, organizations. There's a utility company here where I live. By law, they have to give away X amount of dollars. They have to. Okay, they're a utility. It's just part of the program. I had one of the guys who's in charge of that part of it, community development. He said, I hate buying tables. He goes, it's tough. He goes, we're going to 12, 15 events a year, and I've got to go fill a table, 8, 10 people.
Yep.
He goes, that's hard.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, we close off a significant portion of people who might be willing to underwrite, get involved at a higher level, because we're not giving them an opportunity. So back to the whole program, if I know that Trevor is going to come and sit at my table, or he's going to sit at somebody else's table who's been coming, being a sponsor, he doesn't want to do it, but I know that he has capacity. I know that he cares. I know that he wants to get involved. We've had a few conversations, and I'm going to reach out to him and say, Trevor, hey, I know that you're going with, Jason, Teresa, but I just really, the conversations we've had, you've done that. We would love to have you be a part of that. And so instead of doing that, I thought maybe you guys might be interested in underwriting something, being a partner and coming on and sponsoring something. And so what I'd like to do, I'm just going to shoot you over an email. It's going to show you the options out there. And that way you can pick for something. There's something you can choose from, see what would work with you guys. And we'd love to have you be a part. No pressure, but if, we'd love to have you come on. So what I've done is I've asked, I've said, I understand who you are. I understand that you're going to come. I understand that, because I'm building my relationship with my donors, and I can send this over to them. It's real simple. Now that's for somebody I've built some relationship with. If it's really kind of out of the blue and I just don't know them real well, I can say, hey, I know that you care about our organization. Thought this might be something you'd be willing to do. Maybe you and your company, because we should be reaching out to people that we know somehow, some way. There needs to be a connection of some kind.
Yep.
And when you do that, you take a lot of pressure off yourself, because it's a soft ask. Now, you can follow up with that with a phone call. Mm-hmm. I've sent the list, and I had 25 things that were there to sponsor. And I follow up and I say, hey, Trevor, I just want to follow up, make sure you got the list. See if you had any questions. Just want to see where you wanted to come in at. Where would you guys like to be comfortable at?
Yeah.
It's really, really helpful. And I want to apologize in advance. I had a visual set up that I was going to get, and I didn't get it done. And it's my fault. We will send this out in the email. So Courtney, remind me to get that. And what it is, it's basically, it was going to be electronic, because you can do this. If you're using software, you can do it this way.
Yeah.
If you're going to have all these different items listed on here to underwrite, and I'm going to show you real quick what I'm talking about, just somewhat of a visual, but this isn't what you want to send out. But different things like audio visual, check in, check out, dessert, centerpieces, runway, silent auction, red carpet, hors d'oeuvres. Let me tell you something. This red carpet deal, it's you sit there and go, what do you mean a red carpet? This is one of the coolest things. So you go and don't give this away, sell it for some good money. But Absolutely. You've got a photographer who's going to show up and take pictures. So what you do is go get a background, and you can do this for a lot. You can sell this for a lot of money. So you go get a background where everybody takes their pictures when they come in,
The companies
put
and
their
the red
background on it, and you sell the red carpet. So when everybody comes in, they have the photographer, click, click, click. It's a sponsorship opportunity.
love that.
And it costs very little to have a poster made. It costs you a couple $100 to have a background created. And
We see it at every event that we go to personally. We see it at every single
yeah,
event.
it's just such an easy deal. But what this is you take this list of all these opportunities and you send this to them. Now, with our software, whenever somebody's bought something, it says sold on top of it. And so you literally could take it, get you a little stamp or use something and just write sold on everything that you've already gotten taken care of. It's sold on.
Yeah.
It's very powerful because then people know that, hey, I want to get involved.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I want to mention just when we're talking about sponsorships, and we're going to send all this to you. So if you have any questions about and asking about the list, but this is not complete. I mean, we've seen people sponsor everything. And I want to make one more deal about adding this $25,000. I can assure you, even though you think you've sold everything out, there's $25,000 in sponsorship and underwriting opportunities in your event still yet.
Yep.
And it may be that I'm going to give you an example. We have a client and friend. Jan Peary's actually come on here before talking about relationships. Mm-hmm. For their event, they did a golden ticket raffle. And what they did was they didn't go get just one sponsor. They went and got two. Their cost was $2,000, but they sold it for two $2,500 sponsors and made $5,000. We had Amy on here a while back, and we were talking about some stuff. And Amy Myers with MDA, they make money. They're like these sponsors
2-to-1 to 4-to-1
special.
Yeah, 2-to-1 to 4-to-1 the opportunity.
2-to-1 to 4-to-1. So if it cost them $4,000, they're spending the sponsorship for at least $8,000. And if it's something that's very high profile, they're going to sell it for even more. And what we found is, this is the real interesting thing. The reason that people are paying more for these sponsorships because they're being asked. They're being shown, hey, this is what it is. This is what the price of it is.
Cheryl said it too. A change of who's attending the event couldn't put it better ourselves, because that's exactly what's happening. These events are changing every year. Over the last couple of years, they've been changing dramatically, of course, as we all know. The attendees, the opportunity to give needs to change. The things that are offered need to change. And you're also seeing, probably, hopefully, if you're doing things the right way, an influx of new donors and folks that are interested in your mission and your organization and want to give. Because once again, another thing that we're broken records, but we're really, really, really trying to send these fundamentals home to folks, is that there's a tremendous appetite to give, and there's a tremendous amount of money in the system. Don't pay attention to things out there that you can't control with regard to the news and things like that. There is a tremendous appetite to give. We're seeing that in every event that we're in. Folks are setting records. And also, another macro point, Jason, is, you get these things done, this $25,000, quote unquote, that's on the table. These are pre-committed dollars as well.
Yeah,
so you're walking into the event, with $25,000.
And one thing that we've learned through COVID was, before, we wanted to try to raise 50% of the money, and then COVID, it was like you had to have 80 or 90% committed before you walked in the door. And so I think that, having those pre-committed dollars is really critical. I think that's where your success is, because they're going to come, they're going to be a part of it. And the other thing that's really cool, here's the other thing. How many of you have reached out to somebody and said, hey, Joseph, hey, Joe Gill, hey, I've got my event's going to be on November 4th. It's a Friday night. Love for you guys to come. Really looking forward to having you come, and, wanted to talk to you about maybe doing a sponsorship. And Joe responds, oh, golly, Jason, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be out of town that night.
Exactly.
We're on vacation. Well, if that's all you have to sell is a table, he's out.
I was thinking this too, Jay. We're not demonizing tables. You got to have tables, but there's
you got to have people there. Yeah.
I totally get that. Another thing, because we talk about this all the time, is, and just using this as an illustration, but you sell the table to the bank, the president of the bank and the board of the bank, can't make it. So they end up sending all the tellers. There's nothing wrong with tellers. My mom was a bank teller, but at
They
the
have
same
no
time,
money.
they
I
don't
can
have the
tell you, they have no
capacity.
money.
They don't have the capacity to give. And if I know a bank and they're bored, they probably bought a table near the front. Now you have a bunch of tellers sitting near the front. We want folks that have capacity at the event. No offense to tellers.
Good
Once
point.
again, get my illustration. So
Mhm.
it's just being more creative. There are
Well, but
plenty
if
of
you
people
give them an
that
option,
are
if
like,
you give the bank an option though, to say,
yeah,
hey, we'd like you to underwrite the audio visual,
could get really
or
good.
we
Could get
do
really
something
good.
like that,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
going, do I have to come? No, you don't have to
Exactly.
come. Or
Exactly. Hey,
how many tickets do I get? Well, how many? Then
yeah.
and everything's a
Then you're having
negotiation.
a
You've got
conversation.
somebody that says, and I know the banker's going to come,
Yeah.
and I want to put him a table because I said, look, are you going to bring all your rich friends with you? He says, yeah. Then sure, we can work
We're gonna
something
show
out.
up and show out. Yeah.
But that's a great point because giving those, you've just created an option for somebody that cares about your organization, they care about your
Yeah.
mission. If they've got a conflict, they're not going to be able to come, but they still can participate. They still can get that shine. They still can, to get that.
Hey, if they underwrite the stage for $10,000, their name's up there the entire time. And if you're in a small, medium, large community, it doesn't matter. That name is going to be apparent, obviously, the entire time. Just for example,
Yeah.
of course, they're going to get the social media posts and all the other things and the thank yous and all that stuff that goes with it. That's powerful for an organization like a bank, right? So what a cool opportunity. Once again, you're just asking.
Don't limit yourself to just thinking about banks.
Yeah, I was just using that as an
Yeah,
example.
no. I don't disagree at all. And that's where this is the most important thing. I know Joe Gill has done this exercise because I did it with him and his organization. Is
cool.
having a people exercise.
Yep.
Who do we know that might possibly be helping at our event?
The most powerful tool. Sorry.
Can they write a check for $10,000 and not miss it?
Yep.
Can they fill a table with people that can give money?
Yep.
Have some kind of special access.
Yep.
So all those things go into it. But when we're coming back to sponsorship and underwriting, the other thing I want to make sure that we don't miss out on, and I see this happen a lot. Trevor and I have talked about this a lot. You have to make a profit. This is a profitable business. You cannot do it based on, well, they might come and they might spend some money. Mm-hmm. This is a deal. Even though you're a nonprofit, that is a tax designation. We have to make money on everything.
It's vital.
So if I've got somebody who's going to be a sponsor and they come in and let's say the sponsorship is $2,500. I'm just making something up. Okay. I'm just for whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, look, well, what do I get with this? You get 2 tickets. Well, I want to bring a table. Okay, that's great, but we're going to change that. Well, then we'll need to change your sponsorship level. Because if your table is costing you $150 per person, in other words, you take all your expenses, divide it by all the people, and the tables and the person, and it's $150 to cover your expense with everything. So, and it's a table for 10, that's $1,500 of cost. So if I stole the sponsorship for $2,500, I'm basically giving them a sponsorship for $1,000. And I'm losing money on the whole thing because I'm not making money on the table. Mm-hmm. I'm not making money on the sponsorship. So I just gave away free access. And the other thing is, don't underestimate the value of that brand paired with your organization. In today's society, in the world of business, the world of visual, the world of that's a lot of impact. People don't really care. And I want to come back to this. They do care about things like, well, how many social, I see people put a media pack together. They go, okay, well, you get a table for 10. You're going to be listed on the program. You're going to be in the deal. You're going to get 10 social media posts, all that stuff. That's great. It's all wonderful. But don't underestimate the value of their seeing your name up there and what they can do with that to be able to go out and showcase their business, their society, maybe their name. They just maybe want to do that and to be out in the community. But the last thing I want to just bring up on that topic, keep mission first. mission first whenever we're talking about sponsorships is just as important as when we're doing an ask, when we're trying to reach out to people. So if, for easy math, if it costs $1,000 to send a kid to camp and we're trying to send 100 kids, we need to raise 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the sponsorship, we need to think about that. How many kids are we going to be able to sponsor above our cost? So keep those things in mind that, hey, thank you so much. Because of your efforts, we're able to do this. You know, we're trying to send 100 kids to camp. Here's a way that you can sponsor and be a part of our organization.
Love it.
Whatever it could be, you know, take your numbers and tie that back into it. I want to go back to this just for a second, because this is really, I mean, and it's funny when I said, you know, coat check, there is zero cost in that.
I love it.
Reception, stage. We've had people sell this for $5,000, $10,000 for a stage that was already there. There's no cost. My point of this, these are money that goes right to the bottom line. Okay. And even if like it's auction software and you say, well, it's $2,000, it's still money that goes to the bottom line because you were going to have the expense anyway.
Yep.
It's not like you couldn't do it or you weren't going to do it. It was just an expense. Now that money goes right to the bottom line.
Love it.
You know, refreshing stations, AKA the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't think that we see. I don't think that we see the auction software and mobile bidding technology underwritten enough. I think that's a very underutilized ask.
yeah, it's and ask for everything. Just because you don't sell it doesn't mean that, you know, it's just an option, because you never know who's going to see that. Have some stuff out there at $500. Have some things at $2,000, but you don't have too many at 500. I mean, just a couple. Put sold on it. You know, you can do things like that, but you want to steer things to where you want them to go.
Absolutely.
We're talking a whole lot. What kind of questions do you guys have, or tell us about the, you know, questions that you have about underwriting, because everything we're saying here, if you'll just get 10 people at $2,500 that you've never raised before, and I can assure you, every one of you can go find 10 things to sponsor. 10.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, what I want you to do is find 20. Put a number on it. It doesn't matter if you don't get it all. You're going to get somebody's going to pick up some of them.
Absolutely. There's not.
And so, you know.
Hey, Jay, I just want to, from a technical standpoint, is the chat feature open? Courtney mentioned something about everyone not being able to see each other's chat, possibly, but I could be.
I've got it just coming to us. If somebody puts a question that way, it's just like a Q&A.
Gotcha. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Any feedback? We know some folks that are on here that are friends that have done an amazing job of asking. So any feedback? Oh yeah, I like that, Troy. Sponsor bidder paddles. I always thought that was really cool. I knew an auctioneer. It's really, really funny. A really cool gentleman, Chad Carvey. He was talking about that years ago, even before mobile bidding was even getting really popular. And we know the maturation of that over the last few years. Was talking about sponsoring the bidder paddles. I thought that was really a great idea back when I heard it for the first time, and there's a tech component that could be utilized with that as well. So that was really, really cool. I thought that was a great idea, Troy. Any other like really cool what you've seen? Hey, maybe something that you've been afraid to ask for at your event, but you've seen it at other events or heard about it. I don't care if you saw it on LinkedIn and you think, oh, that was creative. Kind of give us some feedback, because we probably have seen it. Not because we're special, but just because we work with so many different organizations and we're students of fundraising. And so, any feedback, anything like that, or questions.
Something I want to just mention. If you're worried about, like, sometimes on the cost of things, like, let's say that you had something, because, you know, one thing we said, we want to sell things for more than what they cost. So let's just say that something costs, you have a hard cost of $2,500 in it. Mm-hmm. It's okay to say, we're going to take up to 4 sponsors for this at $2,500. That's well, if you get one, you've covered your cost, and anybody else is that's just money that you're making. And if you only sell 3, you just made $5,000 net profit over the top. And it's okay, because that's what you're selling. You're selling impact. You're selling mission. Don't get caught up on what it costs you. Think about what it's worth and how it's going to affect your mission.
And don't get caught up and think, oh, geez, we can't offer that to do. You're raising money. The biggest organizations that we know do this, and they do it really, really well, and they're unabashed. So why not do it yourselves? That's the idea. Becky, question.
Okay,
Uh,
I've got an answer for that. So Becky's question, let me read it out for everybody so you hear it. It says,
yep.
how do you manage fair acknowledgement of large donors,
Okay.
event sponsors versus underwriting sponsors? For example, we
Good
have
question.
a
Yeah.
$20,000 event sponsor who we put their logo on our bid cards, worried about them, and you're worried about them feeling underappreciated value if we're putting other folks' logos on high impact areas.
Yep.
That's the whole part of what you're doing is you're selling this opportunity. It's basically like billboard. Okay, I want you to imagine a
Yeah.
professional, uh, any professional sport now, with the exception probably NFL. Everybody has logos on their stuff. Golfers,
Yeah.
they look like a
A
NASCAR.
walking billboard. Yeah.
They're a walking billboard, and that's what people are paying that money for, significant amounts of money, to put their name on the jersey, put their name on the shirt, put their name on their car, whatever it is, to
Yeah.
do that,
Well, we
versus
were.
the
Yeah.
people that
Sorry.
are buying a ticket. So I do hear what you're saying. How do we, the value of underwriting sponsors versus event sponsor? And that's where I think your creativity. If somebody's buying a platinum table, okay, they're going to be at the front row. So what I'd like to see happen, if somebody's given, let's say it was the big sponsor, it was $25,000 or $50,000 for a table. We know that they've given a whole lot of money. What I like to see happen is we're going to bring out bottles of champagne with glasses, make a big deal about it, where everybody troops through the thing and comes up and comes to that table and starts pouring Dom
And
Perignon or
acknowledgement. Yeah.
Vevey
Yeah.
or
That's
something
awesome.
like that. That's really
Yeah.
cool. And everybody
Yeah.
goes, wow, what did they do? At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to say a moment of gratitude to our Platinum Table sponsors. They all paid $50,000 to be here for our
Wow.
mission, and do something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah. I love that.
Everybody's going to get a deal. That's going to be a huge thing. Um,
Yep. Love it. Love it.
so, and
Absolutely.
that's just an example. So, there's a lot of ways you could do this. It depends on the person, Becky. I think it depends on who you're talking to. I know donors and people who they don't want anybody to know that they just gave you $50,000. They'll want to
Love it.
slide a check under the door and they don't want to talk
Yeah.
about it. They just want to
Yep.
do it. They don't want acknowledgement. I know other people that want you to ask them in the middle
They
of the
want the
room,
social media
and they want
posts.
everybody to
They want.
stand up and cheer for them
Yes.
because they just gave
Yep.
$50,000. I've
They
seen
want
it
the
both
logo
ways.
everywhere. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Everyone's different. Yeah. And you have great feedback, Becky. She said we don't actually offer any seats to event sponsors. This particular sponsor purchases the table or tables separately as well. That's awesome.
And that's the best thing to do.
That sounds like a huge win, Becky. Yeah, you're doing something right. I think it's great.
And that's
Hey,
why, well, and that's
can I?
why just giving somebody a table, I mean, you bought a table, you're getting something that's going to be there. You're going to get some entertainment, the privilege of coming to be
A
here,
meal.
seeing all
Yeah.
this, to see and be
Mhm.
seen,
Mhm.
and you're donating. Those other sponsorships are huge. And that's why they're in addition to, because now I've had people negotiate with me on stuff whenever I was helping raise
Well,
money. And they're like, hey,
yeah,
what do I got to do to get a table around here?
I
Well,
was going
you
to
got to
say. I
write a
mean,
bigger check.
absolutely. I mean, I think it's. I mean, you can call it a negotiation. Let's just call it a conversation, as well, because that's in people's dossier. They want to negotiate these things and ask for more because they're unabashed. Maybe that's the business they're in or whatnot. And they're not anonymous donors. That's a great opportunity to have a conversation. Okay, well, what do you have in mind? You get to dictate where that goes. You don't want to put anyone else out or make them feel ostracized as a result. So realize that you're not necessarily walking the finest of lines, but it's a good opportunity to have a conversation. And then also, once you get the hang of this and you're starting to do it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but it's like, once you've done this, now you kind of have an idea of how to quote unquote pitch this to certain donors,
Sure.
right? Like, I think this would be a great fit for company XYZ. I think this would be a great fit for Mr. and Mrs. John and
Yeah.
Jane Doe, right? So John and Jane Doe, probably major donors, probably don't want their name on the stage. Or maybe they do. Maybe their foundation does, for instance. I don't know. But you get my point. Once you get the hang of it, then you
Yeah.
can, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, pitching the right opportunity. Oh, we still have this available. Oh, like a perfect example. Well, Becky's got a great example with the plumber that bought the refreshing station,
Mm-hmm.
the bathrooms, if you
Yeah.
will. That was awesome. And what was it? Oh, another great one. A local beer, wine, liquor distributor. You know what I mean? They're going to underwrite the bar, or multiple bars, for instance, would be a great opportunity for them. We see MDA do that with Tito's, a huge supporter of theirs. Well, that just fits. That just makes sense. The opportunity is there. It's a one-to-one connection. There's 0 degrees of separation. So it's just time, it's a good opportunity and time to get creative and make that fit happen. And a light bulb will click with most of these folks. And once again, you're not going to experience a ton of attrition if you do it
Yeah.
thoughtfully. I
Well, and
was
that's
thinking also, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking, honestly, just on a macro level, everybody, this happened. When did this happen? 25 plus years ago when they started naming stadiums,
Yeah,
right? I mean, we're talking about,
exactly the same
hey,
thing.
everybody, listen, this has been happening for a long time. It's not going to be very difficult for people to quantify or to comprehend. Now
Here's
we're
yeah,
seeing partnership, billions of dollars of partnerships and exclusive rights to the naming of a football stadium or a basketball arena or this, that, and the other thing. It's happening everywhere. You know
well,
what I
and that's
mean?
why you're going to put something out there and you're going to blow somebody's doors off. You're going to sit there and go, "Well, I'm just going to freak everybody out." No, you're not. Not really.
Not really. Not
And
really,
here's a
because it's
and
popular.
this is why the
Popular.
way to start this process and what we've seen is in best practices. Obviously, if you have a personal relationship with this person, I prefer to lead with a call. I would lead with a call. But if you don't, and you want to just shoot them an email, it's also real easy. But it's a two-step process. Hey, Trevor, this is Jason. Hey, I'm on the committee for our organization, ABC Charity. It's coming up on November 4th. It's a Friday night. Really love for you and Shelby to come. But in the meantime, I'm going to shoot you over an email real quick. It's just got some sponsorship opportunities. I think that you guys might want to be part of this. You know our mission. You know what we do and what
Hmm.
we're trying to accomplish. And I think I would love to have you take a look at it and see where you're at on it and see what you'd like to do it. I shoot that over to him. Well, here's going to be the response that I'm probably going to get. I may not get anything.
True.
Okay. He's going to look at it and respond and go, how about the refreshing station? That work?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a couple of questions on this. Or
Right.
what do I get with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
Love it.
man, I'm going to have to pass this year. My response to any and all of those are great,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just because it's a positive outcome. And I didn't have to get uncomfortable. I didn't have to sit there and go, hey man, I know you can write a check. Time now, maybe the relationship you may have with that person
Dictate.
allows you to do this, but it's not where, hey, look, we've got this mission, we're trying to do this deal. I've got some sponsorship underwriting. I don't know where you'd like to come in. Would you like in the $2,500, the 5,000, the 10,000? You don't have to do all that. You just say, I'm just going to shoot this over to you, or I'm going to send you a link. We have a program that lets you do the sponsorships above that. And when you send that link to him, it says, I'm just going to shoot you a link. Just take a look at it. If you see something you like, click on it. And
Yeah.
it's going to show. And the cool thing about this is, and a lot of softwares do this, so it's not just us.
Yeah.
When they do, it shows sold on everybody else's that's looking at that link. So that way,
Yep.
when you send out 50 of these emails, you know that they're not going to get crossed over.
Hmm.
They're going to be able to click on it and go, yeah, that's available. And
Great,
it
great,
works.
great benefit of mobile
Now,
software.
if you've already sold something before you send the link out, but you don't have to have software. If you say, well, we don't have that program yet, we're trying to get this done,
Sure. Sure.
spend a little time on your computer, put you a little sheet. And I'm going to send the example. It's a great example, and I'm sorry I didn't have it ready, but I will get this. I'll email this to everybody. You get this simple little email, and you put this graphic up there, and it says, audio visual, refreshing station, bidding paddles, this, that, and put a number on it. Figure out how much money you want to raise pre-event, double it, and make sure that you have enough items at the price point, and put it all on there. If you've never done this before and this is your first time, take the biggest sponsorship that you've ever gotten, divide that in half. Okay, this is just a little quick formula. If the most money that you've ever got for a table or something was $10,000, make your most expensive sponsorship item $5,000, and then build it from there. If you want to do cost plus 25%, that's fine too. Just put it out there, because you're going to make it up on the stuff that you have no cost in.
Yeah.
Underwrite everything. I can't tell you enough. That's where the $25,000 that you're going to add to the bottom of the event is.
Yeah.
Do it.
We had a question from Mary Sue. Mary Sue, I don't know if you were here for Jason's eloquent example of a benefits package for a large sponsor. The champagne was something you saw in person. That was really cool, Jay.
I've seen that done several times, and it's really cool. And it's,
I myself, super fun. I also think it's an opportunity, Mary Sue. I mean, because these sponsors vary, you know what I mean? In are they a company? Are they a couple? Are they a family? Are they a foundation? I think it's a unique opportunity, creative on what's going to be important to them. And I think getting creative in what you offer them, for instance, company, perfect. Jake, fill in the blanks here as well. But I mean, we're talking about email blasts, we're talking about social media posts, we're talking about things that the community sees. I'm assuming things along those lines. Some of these companies
invite the newspaper. I hope everybody's inviting every media outlet that you have to let you do a press release to know that.
Yeah, visibility
because a lot of the newspapers have a social society section part of it. Mm-hmm. They'll pick that stuff up and do stories. They'll come out and take pictures.
Yeah.
So, and everybody, they'll go around, take pictures of couples, and they'll pick out 4 or 5 couples, and they'll put that in the paper and do that. And if you've got somebody who's, a large company who's doing something, having them take a picture of them and specifically say, look, ABC company, they're our title sponsor, or they're a large sponsor, or we'd really like to get them some recognition. Love for you to come out here and do this and see what they're doing, because they gave us a lot of money and really came through. That's the kind of stuff that you can make a phone call. They're trying, all the newspapers around, especially now, media, they're looking for local stories because they're trying to drive traffic, because everybody's on their phone all the time. Doing that. The social media post does mean something. When you go those there, when you take that picture and you tag that company on Facebook or whatever social media, and it says, thank you for this deal, that gets a lot of, because they get the job, and get their individual names and tag all them too.
Yeah, it's going to be reshared. Obviously, it's going to live in infamy. It's going to live forever.
Because that's the notoriety and that special feeling special. Things like the champagne, a signed copy of the book of the speaker that you have who's coming to speak, or the honoree that you've got, and they have something going out there, putting each one of them, not just for the person who wrote the check, but for every chair, has this little gift to take home. There's a lot of little things that you can do that really push that envelope. We have an organization for their sponsor. Now, it's a guys event. It's targeted to guys. It's a fight night, and they have cigars and cocktails and stuff like that. And they bring a big old ashtray, and they gave everybody this really cool cigar ashtray with a lighter for all the platinum sponsors.
I thought about that. Yeah, I think a gift would be really
$25,000 a table, and they spent some money on it. They got it sponsored. Yeah. They got it sponsored, and what they did was they had them made. They had them made in this underwritten, but they had it made in with the logo of the company. So they all got this cool ashtray. Everybody that went, all the guests and everybody at the table, they got that big ashtray and the lighter, this big cool lighter with the logo of the company on it. So it was just really cool.
Yeah,
a neat idea to do that.
Well, I was running through my memory bank of different things that I've seen, that are, not weird.
If anybody's done something really cool, please send it out. I'll share with everybody.
Yeah, like I said, we're in the chat. We're to this, but you have a company. I think you also take into consideration how competitive their market is. Of course, obviously the size of your community. You might have. I've seen this happen before, where the MC interviews the president of the company. You know what I mean, in the room, and gives them some shine that way. I've seen that if that president is like the face of the company, so to speak, or gregarious, and is not shy of speaking on the microphone. You know what I mean? I've seen stuff like that happen. I thought it was done tastefully, and I thought it was successful, because obviously it was indelible and I remember it. But yeah, getting creative. Jason's ashtray example, I call that the refrigerator magnet because you're going to see it all the time. Every time
Mhm.
you go to use it, you're going to see it, right? So it's the same situation when you got the refrigerator magnet that's your, local realtor. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, the magnet. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's great.
Becky
That's
just shared
great.
said they made a custom magnet
Ah,
poetry
yes.
sheet one year with their logo and a big event, the sponsor's logo, and they included their
Yeah,
core value words, some lyrics from the camp songs, and
that's
consulted
so
with the
great.
sponsor if they want anything
Which,
particular, which they
yeah,
didn't. But
which
that's really a great
for
idea.
folks, for supporters of Becky's organization, the camp songs and things like that, I'm sure what they know about the organization probably means so much to them and something they'd be proud, to have on their refrigerator or anywhere where their magnet, where they would put it. It's probably really beautiful, and I think that's really, really creative and really
Trevor,
cool.
your example just brought something to my memory that we did
Yeah,
with an organization here. And what they did, there was a construction company. This was for a hospital, a big hospital. They were building this big, um, a new mother birthing center, for preemies and stuff like that, and it was a really big deal. And they got the construction company who was doing most of the work, and they were a big sponsor. They also got the other construction company that was doing a bunch of the work, and they got both of them up there.
smart. Yeah.
This was a really cool thing that they did. They had one of the company had donated like 60 grand. Okay. And so what we talked to them about, instead of just saying, well, this is just a underwriting, what if we took $20,000 of your donation and we used that as a challenge for the room when they were doing the fund to need, and they were tickled to do it. And they went up there and they were so ecstatic to do that. In fact, they wound up donating another $15,000 and made it 75 because they wanted to buy. They were buying these neonatal units and they were $5,000 a piece
Yeah.
equipment, and they wanted to buy three of them when
Yep.
we asked for the money for it. So giving people the opportunity to maybe use some of their gift already and to see it in another way is a way they can do it. And the other thing that that does is it supercharges the room, because when you say, ladies and gentlemen, not only have they come and done a great job of sponsoring, but they believe they're going to match every $1,000 gift here tonight.
Hmm.
20 hands went up and got matched like this.
Twist the dial.
And
Yeah.
so they got the recognition from that. So that's just an idea for
Well, it
that.
means
So
a
there's,
lot. It means a lot. And
and sometimes people don't need
people don't forget
stuff
that.
necessarily. It's
Yeah.
more of the idea and the thoughtfulness of it. What they did with their ashtrays and lighters, I don't know, but
Well,
it's just
yeah,
little things like that. It's the that thought that counts. It does,
yeah. You
and
mentioned you mentioned
recognition.
Jan Peary. You mentioned Jan Peary a little while ago. We were just talking about Jan, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, as recently as yesterday, because she's a champion at the Ask and a champion fundraiser. You said that Jan told you one of her major donors. It took 5 years for her to cultivate the relationship before they gave.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
That's okay. That's really okay because we are playing the long game and we're playing the consistency game. I also think that we're playing the relationship. It's not a game. We're playing that. That's the game of life, right? So these
Mhm.
are relationships where it takes you proactively building these relationships with these supporters, with these sponsors, with these donors, and you need to truly understand what's going to get them out of bed in the morning, so to speak, right? You need to know, hey, and get creative and it's obviously this is a buzz term that's tossed around a lot, but it's something that we believe in wholeheartedly is do it from a place of gratitude, obviously, right? And what's gonna mean the most to them from a giving standpoint. And if it's a basket of flowers, I guess you got to give them a basket of flowers. I don't know, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
knowing what they're into. If they're a bourbon drinker, give them you know what I mean? I don't know, right? But everyone
Well,
comes with their own different thing,
yeah,
So
but you've got to start
understand.
that relationship somewhere, and I
Yeah.
think that's part of it is you learn and seeing what they do and seeing what means something to them. Um, that's
Maybe you've
really
seen them at their favorite
critical.
restaurant multiple times in town. You get them a gift card to the favorite restaurant. I don't know. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
just little stuff of
Those things mean a
gratitude.
lot to those things mean a lot to people. I got to be
Mhm.
honest from personal experience, right?
But
And
but
being
I want to just
thoughtful.
go. Well, I just want to go back to that point. But to get to that relationship, an easy way to do it is list this stuff out,
Hmm.
make a phone call, even leave a message. If they just, that you go into voicemail, hey, Trevor, this is Jason. I just want to let you know I sent you an email. If you have any questions about it, please give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about what we're doing. That's it. Hit send, and then just, hey, I just left you a voicemail.
Yeah.
Love to talk to you about this. Here's the events up here. This is what the date is. We'd love to get you to participate.
Yeah.
It's a real easy thought because I'm not asking you. I'm not putting you on the spot. It's very soft, very unintrusive.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to probably, if we have a relationship of any kind, you're going to respond somehow.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I can't do it this year. Or, yeah, you know what? Let's talk about this one thing over here. But maybe you even do this if you know they're a plumber, okay? And you say, hey, I thought you might want to be the sponsor of the refreshing station. Might fit great for you guys, aka the restroom. I mean, you gotta just use the relationships that you have.
Jason keeps on referring to this opportunity to give via email and sending this list out, which we're going to give you our take on and copy on with the recording and stuff by the end of business. But I think what's so cool though, Jay, as well, is like if you've never done this before, think about how it's going to, because folks are the folks that have the capacity to give get a lot of these messages, right? They get a lot of the emails, a lot of the phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
They get the mass mailer with the donation envelope in it and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. They get all these things. Well, if they're getting something from you that they haven't gotten from anyone else before, or from you at the very least, think about how that quote unquote interrupts the loop, right? It's not the same old song and dance. It's something completely different. And I'm telling you, donors are consumers. Consumers respond to this. Consumers respond to differentiation. Consumers respond to creativity. Consumers respond to things they've never seen before. You're the pink elephant in the room full of gray elephants in this case, right? We talk about differentiation, how blissful that is in business. Well, you're still a business as well. You still have to make money. And I just think, once again, it's such a unique opportunity to interrupt the loop, so to speak, and to show folks the opportunity they have to give in a different capacity. And it's really cool. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the outcome. I think that's what we've seen. I know that's what we've seen. And it will really, really work. We also believe, Jason talked about the advent of using the online, auction software. Cool. If you can, that'd be fantastic. But also making it very easy for them to make that decision. Another thing that donors are consumers, what consumers really respond to really well right now is no friction. Make it as easy as possible for them to give. Okay.
I've got a great example. For that, Trevor, I've got a great example about no friction. We talked about this most powerful fundraising tool right here.
Yes, sir.
Skip the email, skip the phone call, take a picture of the opportunity,
screenshot it,
text them, and just text it to your friend, text it to the person that you know that you're reaching out to.
Come on.
Hey, Trevor, hey, our event's on November 4th. I want to give you an early shot at the best sponsorship. Here's what's available.
I love that.
I want to give you a first shot.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's also personal. How could you get more personal than that? And then another thing is, folks are probably not super apt to pick up the phone, even if they know it's you. If you leave them a voicemail, they'll get to it when they can. So our reach there is what, 24-hour response time, maybe. And send an email, goes right to the phone. It works. Cool. They get the email, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know if I'm going to respond. It's going to take some thought. The text, now that's going to cut right through everything, right? I think it's a great idea. That's a really
the average response time for a text is 3 minutes. I mean, over everything. Didn't seeing it come up, something like that is like 3 minutes. Maybe it's 30 seconds. I don't know. It's ridiculously short.
Yeah, we're going to go macro here, but I mean, think about this. In every aspect of what you do, make it easy. Mm-hmm. Make it easy. Don't give them the 3-minute long quote unquote elevator pitch about I'm a 501c3. This is what we do. Yeah, they already know that. Jason talks about this all the time. I'm piggybacking, bro. But at the same time, hey, tell them what you do. Tell them how much it costs to send the kid to camp. How many, we know you can. We know you care. Make it simple for them to give. Make it quantifiable so they're not running through the math, this and that and the other thing through their head. Remove all friction. Remove all pressure points. Here you go. You know what I mean? Make it as easy as possible for them to say yes. Hey, make it easy for them to say no too. No means no right now. It doesn't mean no forever, right? So yeah, I'm ranting, but it's really important. That's my opinion.
Okay, Here's your homework assignment. Everybody, you didn't know this. You're going to get a homework assignment today.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool.
What
My
I
wife's a
will
teacher.
challenge you to do is to take your event. I don't care if it's in 16 days, if it's in next 6 months. Take your event. I want you to look at everything that you've got sponsored. I want you to look at everything that you could possibly do a sponsorship. And I'm challenging you to come up with $50,000 in sponsorship and underwriting opportunities. Okay. When I say sponsorship, I'm talking like the refreshing station, the bitter paddles, all that stuff. $50,000. So if you found 20 items that average $2,500, there you go. Okay. I promise you, you have it there in your event. And if you think, Jason, I've got it all covered, call me, challenge me. If I'm wrong, I'll give you, if I can't find $50,000 to help you sponsor something else or raise your sponsorship levels or something, there's more. And I'm talking about stuff that if you've already got it laid out, this is something you can do over and above, and you will get at least a 50% response on and add $25,000 to your next event. It just works. It works.
Hey,
and it doesn't take a lot of effort, doesn't take a lot of time, but if you're consistent with it, and you just do the exercise, I guarantee you're going to do it. You're going to find it.
And then we're broken records about this, but we really, really mean it. And a lot of people have taken us up on the offer. We're obviously jazzed. I can't sit still about this subject, this topic. Mm-hmm. It's really near to us. Jason is a true expert in the space. And as mentioned, we're students of this game, and we listen to all the success stories that we get to hear on a regular basis. And these are all across the country. So do us a favor. If you have any questions, if you have any trepidation, if you have any fear, if success, just let us know and email us, jason@hjafundraising.com, trevor@hjafundraising.com. We're here to help. We give our time free, and there's no strings attached. And we're happy to help because we want to see you raise more money. We want to see you succeed. And it could be really, really fun. It could get really, cool.
And I'm telling you, if you're sitting there thinking, no way I can find $50,000 in my event, can't be us. Shoot us an email. We'll set up a time. We'll do a one-on-one. Trevor and myself will. We'll go through all the stuff, and I bet we can find it.
Go ahead, try us. Email us.
Yeah, and so hey, we got a winner. We got to give something away. Yep, everybody, give a big hand. Dana Devine, give a big hand.
Dana.
I said Dana. A friend of mine's name, her spells the same way. She says Dana, so it could be Dana.
It is Dana. I know it is.
Okay.
Hi, Dana.
Well, there you go, Dana.
How cool is that?
Awesome, Dana.
Congratulations!
So you just won a trip that you can use in your next fundraiser to raise more money. So congratulations. Cool. Everybody, thank you guys so much. If there's any last minute questions, please pop it. We'll hit it. But we're going to wrap it up for today. We'll send out this list. I promise you, I will get the other list as well. So that way you'll have the example. That way you kind of have a frame of what we're talking about when I say take a picture of it and send it out.
No one's mad.
I'll send a couple of examples, okay? We'll do the manual one and do that way because I know I'm a visual person. A lot of times I need to see it. So Courtney, don't let me not get this done.
We won't mess it up
before we send this out, okay?
Yeah.
And
really cool. We got a cool one. I'm teeing up next week. We got some cool guests, man. I'm gonna tease it a little bit. We got some really cool guests that are real. They have a very interesting niche in their market and what they do, and we're pretty tickled to have them on. We've never had them on before. Great guests. We're inviting everyone. Obviously, it's free to come. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell someone in your network, tell someone you like, you love, tell a neighbor about next Thursday's episode. Will be episode 84. Also, as we mentioned previously, if you haven't already listened to the #1 podcast in the nonprofit universe, it's called Hey Nonprofits, Raise More Money. So wherever you consume and digest your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, just type in Hey Nonprofits. It'll probably pop up. Hey Nonprofits, Raise More Money. That's Jason and I riffing on a weekly basis, if not more often than that, about really cool topics. It's short form, so we're not going to, waste your time, so to speak, and ramble too darn much. But poignant topics and some really cool conversations between a couple knuckleheads.
Hey, but back to next week. We've got a couple of ladies. They're experts at this and what they do, and they're not trying to sell you on there, but they provide on-site support for the night of the event, whether it's
which we can learn
2
from
people or 20 people. They do that. But what they're going to be talking about is why your check-in, check-out process, desk people set the tone for the entire night of fundraising. It's going to be really cool. They're going to be there with some tips, tricks.
I got some questions.
Some feedback for you. That way, whenever you're working with your volunteer staff, your team, and to make sure that you're ready to raise more money at your next event.
So we have some really cool experts in the event space that are coming on next week. Jason, you're going to an event tomorrow? Tomorrow
night. Yeah, I'll be doing.
I'm going to an event on Saturday. It's going to be really fun. So we're going to have some more feedback. I'm taking my pen and paper, and I'm going to take some notes, and maybe it'll turn into something. So, hey, Mary Sue, thanks so much for asking. It's called Hey Nonprofits, raise more money. When I say hey nonprofits,
you just put hey nonprofits, or raise more money in the deal, it'll pop right up.
But Mary Sue, if you're going to listen to an episode, if you're going to download, subscribe, rate, and review, which we know you will, do us a favor, a small favor, share it with someone.
Yep, please.
Hit share.
All right, we got to get out of here.
All right, thanks everybody. Really appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all so much.
You can find it, Emily, on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, anywhere where you download your podcasts. Apple, exactly. Yeah, we're number 1 on Apple, as a matter of fact. So we just got the news yesterday. It's pretty exciting. So thanks so much for asking, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks so much. Have a great Thursday.
Bye.
Bye, Jay.